Johnson on the rich and complex history of Christianity and Islam.
Go on, have a guess. We're looking at the trademark colonnades and capitals of a big Roman city. But is it Italy? France? Spain? No. We're in Palmyra, in Syria, not all that far from the Iraqi border. And we forget that the land of the Caesars stretched from Arabia to Portugal, from Scotland to Libya. Across this vast, pacified Roman Empire, people spoke the same languages, everyone had the same chance to become a Roman citizen, everyone had freedom of worship under a vast and accommodating polytheism, and everyone could marry whoever they chose, irrespective of religion or race. Today, that unity is gone, and the great Roman territory has been effectively divided in two. There is the Christian world and the Muslim world. And for 1400 years, relations between the two have been marked by rivalry, mistrust, incomprehension, and a simmering mutual antipathy that still afflicts us today. These programs are an attempt to discover the origins and the seesawing history of what some people call the clash of civilizations. What do they mean by that? Is it true that there is such a thing? And will it ever end? When Rome fell in 476 AD, Western Europe was plunged headlong into what used to be called the Dark Ages. But was it really lights out for everyone? Let's face it, we have a pretty Monty Python vision of the Dark Ages as a place of mud and illiteracy and embarrassing diseases, a kind of cringe-making adolescence of Western civilization in which people hurled dead cows over castle battlements and drew endless lumpy pictures of the torments of hell. And yet, of course, there are plenty of historians who say that the Dark Ages were by no means as dark as all that. And in the centuries after the fall of Rome, in 476 AD, the Roman roads continued to function, and though the bridges may have been a bit dilapidated, they could be repaired with pontoons, and the currency continued to circulate, and that effectively a great unified civilization continued to flourish about the shores of the Mediterranean. Something did finally destroy that unity, and it wasn't the Huns, and it wasn't the Vandals, it was the Arabs. In just 80 years, they conquered half of the old Roman Empire, colonizing the grain fields of Egypt and surging through North Africa to Spain. And the crucial difference between the Arabs and all previous invaders was that the Arabs were not seduced by that intoxicating Roman brand. And they didn't adopt Christianity. They were to develop their own distinctive culture. And this powerful and sophisticated Muslim civilization was to be in the ascendancy for 800 years. And that memory is important to Islamic extremists today when they consider what they now think of as the humiliation of the Arab world. In this series, I'm going to travel around Europe, to the Mediterranean and the Middle East, to look at some of the flashpoints in relations between Christianity and Islam. But also to see what we can learn from those precious moments of harmony and interchange. To understand the origins of this long-running antipathy, we need to grasp a key fact of geography, namely that Arabia, now Saudi Arabia, was never really part of the Roman world. The Arabs traded with Rome and supplied plenty of mercenaries, and even an emperor, Philip the Arab, and they supplied the camel, the heavy goods vehicle of the ancient world. But unlike their monotheistic neighbors, the Christian Roman Empire and the Zoroastrian Persian Empire, the desert Arabs remained a mostly polytheistic people. At the beginning of the 7th century, the Arabs still believed in many gods and idols, until a 40-year-old man called Muhammad underwent a profound religious experience.
In 610 AD, Muhammad received his call to prophethood and changed the course of history. And some have seen this as a bolt from the blue, a new divine message for humanity without any previous source or influence. While other Quranic scholars say, no, you must look at the historical context. And the context was that the Arabs were then a remote desert people with barely any previous literature of their own, living on the sandy fringes of two great empires, the Persian and above all the Christian Roman Empire. Many Arabs had already converted to Christianity, and Muhammad, the well-traveled merchant, would certainly have been familiar with the religion. But the advantage of Islam for the Arabs was that they could adopt it without any implicit political submission to the Christian Roman Emperor, and above all, as the final superior faith, and one which appeared in the Arabic language, it gave expression to the growing Arab sense of confidence and identity.
Islam was not a new religion. The Muslims believed that their faith was the perfection of earlier revelations given to Jews and Christians by their prophets. And that's why Moses and Jesus are also revered by Muslims.
If you ask a religious person, then he will tell you that Abraham knew something about the true religion. Then Judaism, it was a little bit better. Then Christianity is better than Judaism, because every time God will give these prophets and these messengers more information. Till when Muhammad came, then the original one, the final religion, was given to Muhammad.
So his idea was that he wasn't bringing a new religion.
No,
he was just correcting and finalizing an ancient religion which can be traced right the way back to Abraham.
Right. Because the Arabs have this relation with this area, with Syria and Egypt and Iraq, so they were influenced by Christianity and Judaism, and it seems to be they wanted a religion of their own.
And the way to prove the supremacy of that religion was war. In 637, only 5 years after Muhammad's death, the Arabs conquered Jerusalem, not only the most important city in Judaism, but also the place where Christ preached and was crucified, where Constantine, Rome's first Christian emperor, had ordered the construction of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And what did Muhammad's successors do when they got there? They set about visibly demonstrating that Islam was the culmination of Judaism and Christianity. This is Al-Haram al-Sharif, the noble sanctuary. After Jerusalem was destroyed by the Romans in 70 AD, this whole area was just rubble. The first thing that the Caliph Umar, Muhammad's second successor, did when he got here was to order the whole area to be cleared. And here was built this celestial golden dome of the rock. It's not a mosque, but its true purpose is still unclear. The rock inside the dome is this small lunar patch of limestone, upon which there used to rest the Ark of the Covenant itself.
If you think of the clash of civilizations in geological terms, then this is the San Andreas Fault. It was on this rock that Abraham almost